This is Take a Punch, a screenplay by Lee Hanson. Swimming baths day. David, 30, sits on some bleachers watching his daughter Jessica, 9, swimming.
That's it, Jessica. Keep going. You can do it just a little further.
Jessica makes it to the end of the pool.
You did it.
She takes a breath and continues. David's gaze drifts from his daughter up to the bleachers opposite. A man, Scott, 30s, is staring straight at him. Scott is tall, heavy-built, and very imposing. David drops his head and pretends to check his phone. When he looks again, Scott is still staring at him. David focuses on Jessica, but after a moment his eyes drift up. Sure enough, Scott is still staring at him. David walks down the steps to the pool. Jessica is treading water.
Let's go get something to eat.
Jessica climbs out and David gently leads her towards the changing rooms. He glances one last time to the bleachers. Scott has gone. David and Jessica exit the swimming baths and walk across a busy car park. David spots Scott sitting nearby on a bench, watching him. He grabs a hold of Jessica's hand and quickens his pace. They reach the car and David opens the back door.
Strap yourself in, quickly.
David spots a note stuck underneath the wiper blade. He picks it up, reads it. Take a punch, is written in felt pen. Fast food restaurant day. David sits at a table in a typical fast food restaurant. The place is full of kids screaming and yelling. Somewhere in the crowd is Jessica. A member of staff puts a napkin on the table and rests a cup of coffee on top. David drinks the coffee. The words, take a punch, are written on the napkin. David slams the cup down. He bursts out of the restaurant and onto the car park, finds Scott next to a truck and runs towards him.
Hey, you.
He holds up the napkin.
Did you write this?
He digs into his pocket and pulls out the note from the car.
And this? Did you leave this on my car?
Take a punch. That's the first thing you ever said to me.
You must have the wrong person because I've never seen you before in my life.
Question still stands, David. Are you ready to take a punch?
What are you talking about?
Scott punches David in the stomach. David vomits a little and keels over.
Guess not. Do you remember the furnace, David?
Scott shows him a set of ugly, jagged scars running up his arm.
I'll be seeing you.
Scott drives into his truck and drives off, narrowly missing David, who's still lying on the ground, hurt. Bedroom, evening. David is sitting on the edge of the bed, holding the note. His wife, Helen, is next door.
Jessica, I want you out of that bath and in your pajamas now.
She appears holding a glass of wine, takes a drink.
I swear, the older she gets, the more I drink. Are you okay?
I met a man today.
Lucky you.
Helen sits on the edge of the bed. She spots the napkin and reads it.
Take a punch. What does that mean?
Something from the past.
Is this why you've been quiet all evening?
When I was 15, I wasn't in a very good place. My dad had a lot of problems, so life was pretty stressful.
You told me he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, a very bad one. He used to beat my mum, sometimes in front of me. So the worse my home life got, the worse I became at school.
In what way?
We used to play an initiation game on the new starters called Take a Punch.
School hallway, flashback. A group of frightened new starters are lined up. Young David, 15, and 2 other students his age walk down the line.
We'd line them up and say, take a punch. If they took it, they were okay.
David strikes the first child. The child grits his teeth but takes it. One of the older boys claps him on the back.
If they dropped or cried, then they were pussies, and pussies got punished.
David punches another child who starts to cry. One of the older boys kicks him between the legs and the child goes down. Bedroom. Helen looks at her husband with sympathetic disgust.
Oh, David.
I was angry, Helen. I just wanted to hurt someone, anyone. At the end of the line was a small boy called Scott Hunt. We used to call him Hunt the...
School hallway, flashback. Young David punches young Scott, 13, in the stomach. Young Scott tries to stay up, but his legs buckle and he falls to his knees. He looks at young David with pleading eyes.
He had these really long eyelashes, and for no reason at all, that little boy got under my skin.
Young David's mouth turns into a grimace and he begins to beat on young Scott. His friends cheer at first, but when he doesn't stop, they pull him away. Bedroom. David looks down at the note in his hands, crumples it up and throws it across the room.
I crawled into a dark place and took this poor boy with me. I beat on him every day, but he never cried. I think if he just cried once, I would have stopped.
Did it ever stop?
Boiler room, flashback. David leads young Scott through a darkened room towards a heavy metal door. He unbolts the door and opens it.
I locked him in the school's furnace room.
A large furnace glows. Young Scott's eyes go wide with fear.
I didn't know he was terrified of fire. He hammered on the door, pleading and pleading with me to let him out. All I did was stand outside, laughing. Then it went silent.
Furnace room, flashback. Young David opens the door, looks inside. The room is covered in blood.
He found a hacksaw and cut his wrists 27 times.
Young David stares at young Scott, his face pale and lifeless. Bedroom. David remains by the window. Helen finishes her wine.
Jesus, David.
After that, I had a nervous breakdown. I never saw him again. Till today.
Why didn't you tell me any of this before?
Because I forgot. All of it. I pushed it to the back of my mind and I never thought of him or what I'd done again.
I've heard of that. It's like a forced amnesia.
My past is finally caught up with me, Helen. This man wants his revenge and he won't stop until he gets it.
That's why we gotta go to the police tomorrow and put an end to this. You did a bad thing, David, but you were just a child. This man has no right to torment you.
Doesn't he?
We're going to sort this, yes? You're a good man and a good father.
Bedroom, night. David wakes. The room is silent. Helen is fast asleep. He gets out of bed and looks out of the window. David puts on some clothes, gently kisses Helen, and exits. Jessica's bedroom, night. Jessica is sound asleep, spread out like a starfish. David pulls the covers up, strokes her hair. David's house, night. The front door opens and David steps out. Scott is standing at the end of the driveway.
I guess it's too late to say sorry. I want you to know I never...
Don't! Nothing you can say or do to stop this.
So what now?
There's a field back there. It should be quiet enough.
Yesterday in the car park when you hit me, if I took that punch, would you still be here?
Scott starts walking towards the fields. David follows.
This ends tonight. I need to know my family aren't in danger.
I'm not the villain here, David.
David turns and looks at his house one last time. The hulking figure of Scott walks away, and reluctantly, David follows. The end.